All right. Hello, everybody. This is video for homework number 8, lesson 8, part 2. Yesterday we did lesson 7 and beginning at 8. Today we're going to pick back up on 8 and go a little further with it, okay? All right. So as we talked about yesterday in class is a rectangle here. If we took a rectangle and we cut it in half diagonally, we can say make a triangle. And a triangle is exactly half of a rectangle. Sorry, sneezing. So if a rectangle is normally base times height and a triangle is half of a rectangle, then the formula for a triangle has to be 1/2 times the base times the height. Now, if you remember from class, we said that one thing that makes it a lot easier is you can call this the base or this the base. It doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't. Any side can be a base. But that we said that a good strategy might be you could go 6 times 3 is 18, and half of 18 is 19. You could do that, but if the numbers get a little big, sometimes it gets a little difficult. All right. So what might be a little easier is to look at this. What is half of 6? The half of 6 is 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. So you can multiply these two numbers first together and then find half of it, or you could find half of one number, and once you know what half of that is, then go ahead and just multiply by the other. You'll get the same answer. All right. So let's take a look at the next one here. Area is 1/2 base times height. Now we're going to go ahead right now, and again I'll show you how you can do it both ways. Right. So 1/2 times the base of 7, the height of 10. 7 times 10 is 70. And then you would have to know what half of 70 is. And half of 70 is 35. All right, so keep that answer in your head. But if we went and did this instead, well, I can say what's 1/2 of 7. But you might see that half of 7 is tough because 7's an odd number. Any even number is always divisible by 2. So I can just change them. Remember, 7 times 10 is 70, and 10 times is 70. So I can change the order. But notice if I go like this, 10 times 7. Look how much easier this is going to be. What is half of 10? Well, half of 10 is 5. What's 5 times 7? 35. I think you might find that way a lot easier to find area of triangles by finding half of one number and then multiplying, right? If both numbers are odd, it's going to be a little more of a challenge. When one of the numbers are even or both, it makes it a lot easier to do that way. All right. So again, we're going half the base times the height. You can find half the base and then multiply by the height. Or if you want, you can multiply the base and height together and then just divide by 2. It really is whatever your personal comfort is. Now the next one here. So that'll be like the first question on homework. If you're looking at tonight's homework, you need a little assistance with it. But if you're looking at something like this, and I said, which triangle has the bigger area? Okay, which triangle has the bigger area? So let's go ahead right now and say that this triangle has 6 yards and 4 yards. And let's say that this one has, I don't know, 7 yards and 4 yards. Okay. So you can't just look at the triangle and go, that one. You have to math it up to mathematically prove which one has the bigger area. So if we're taking a look right now, we have a base of 6, a height of 4, right? It doesn't matter. You can call this the base and this height, it doesn't matter. But since they're both even numbers, it really doesn't make a difference. 1/2 times 6 times 4. What's half of 6? Half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 4 is 12 yards. So 12 yards squared. Over here, 1/2 times now 7 and 4. I'm going to put the 4 here because 4 is divisible by 2. Right? What's 1/2 of 4? What's half of 4? Half of 4 is 2, and 2 times 7 is 14. This side is 12 yards squared. This one's 14 yards squared. Because 14 is bigger than 12, then this triangle has a larger area. And we didn't just do it by going, oh, it looks bigger. You actually mathematically figure it out. All right. The next one now. Let me just clean up my board. and move my screen for myself. All right. The next question we're talking about, it says drawing an identical copy of each triangle so that the two copies together form a parallelogram. All right, so this is going to be a little hard for me to show you perfectly on here, only because I don't really have perfect graph paper. I mean, I can make one, but it's not going to be perfectly perfect. But if we go through here, and I'm going to use a different color. Let's do green. Okay, so if we had a triangle like this, okay, if we want to draw, in the way that it's worded in the question is draw an identical copy such that two copies form a parallelogram. All right, we did that yesterday. So if we go ahead right now and we take the side and we build it kind of upon itself, right? So we go a little bit backwards and we flip it upside down, right? So we have something kind of like this. Well, we can make a parallelogram that way, right? We can also move that way. We can make another one like this, right? If you fold it on top of itself, you could take it, and if you flip it this way, now we are making a parallelogram. If I took it and just flipped it over, right? So you're going to draw a parallelogram. So you could take a triangle, excuse me, and then if you took one like this, and then if you flipped it this way, straight down on graph paper, you made a perfect parallelogram, right? The first two I made were not parallelograms; they were quadrilaterals, but they weren't parallel. But now as we're taking one that we're making perfect parallelograms just by flipping it. So you have to that's just taking out graph paper and just kind of drawing like a mirror image of an exact copy. All right. And the last one here, it says here, we're looking for a parallelogram that has a base and a height. All right. Now, all they did here on fancy stuff was this. Number one, they said like a base of 2.3 inches and a height of 4 inches. Now they're talking about a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a four-sided shape, not a triangle. Triangle's 3. So it's going to be base times height. So you're going to do 2.3 times 4. All right, 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Remember, if there's one number that comes after the decimal, slide it back in. So it'll be 9.2 inches squared. I just multiplied base and height. Boom. Just multiply with decimals. All right. And the last question here. Parallelogram has a base of 3 and an area. So now I'm going to give you the area. All right. So if I had an area, again, parallelogram, an area of, let's say, 2.4 meters squared. Oh, sorry, meters squared. And you have a base of, let's say, 3 meters. Okay, so now what we're looking to do is, if we're looking to find the height, it's always area divided by the side that you know. In this case, we're looking for the height, and the height is the area divided by the base. All right, so you're just going to go 2.4 divided by 3, which would be 3 going to 2.4. Remember, when you're dividing with decimals, just bring the decimal straight up. 3 goes into now we're thinking 24. 8 times or 8 tenths. So you have 8 tenths meters. That would be the height. Okay, so if you want the area, just multiplying base times height. If you're looking to find a missing side because you already know the area, it's area divided by the side that you know. And all they do is try to get a little fancy here by adding some decimals, but we know that's not going to scare us off, right? All right. So looking through, the only kind of weird one was, if we're looking at a triangle and we take it and we do a perfect copy of we flip it, so we can flip it upside down, we can flip it across, we can flip it diagonally. So they're connected, but so we can make a parallelogram. right? So you can go back to the classwork from yesterday, actually, which would be on lesson 7, and you can see where we have those triangles, we can move them around, and you can practice that and see that. It might be a little easier for you to see it that way. But that's about it. Main concept, rectangles are base times height, but a triangle is half of a rectangle, so it's half the base times the height. And it might be easiest to say what's half the base, got it, and then multiply that times the height. All right, so hope all is well, and stay safe, and talk to you soon. Bye.